Hello and welcome to Gerety Talks. My name is Lucion Guy and I am the co-founder of the Gerety Awards. Just like the awards, this series will put in the spotlight some of the industry's true change makers within the aim to give progress in the industry at a global scale. We have a fantastic guest with us today, Merlee Jayme, Global President of Dentsu Mcgarrybowen and Chairmom of Dentsu Jayme Syfu. The 2019 Drum Global Ranking announced the top 100 chief creative officers in the world, and there were 8 women in the list. Merlee was one of them. She is known for her work that pushes insights and innovation. She has been recognized as the Creative of the Year by Campaign Asia and the CEO of the Year by the International Association of Business Communication. She has won all major awards and led her agency to win key accounts like Coca-Cola, Nestle, and Shell Fuel. Merlee is a sought-after international speaker and an opinion leader, one of CNN's leading women. She is a seasoned judge in award shows and author illustrator of a handbook, Everyone Can Be Creative, a mom to 4 creative girls, and an inspiration in breaking the glass ceiling in this madman's world. Thank you, Merlee, for joining us. Welcome to Gerety Talk.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Lucia.
So we go straight to the question. Dentsu recently presented Brave New Normal Creative Trends for 2021, spotting 5 creative trends for an increasingly virtual and socially distanced world. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we came up with a report. It was prepared by the wonderful global head of strategy and consulting of Dentsu. And she is this amazing woman, Patricia McDonald. And she did this together with a team of creatives, strategists, technologists from across the Dentsu global network, from Dentsu Mcgarrybowen, from Dentsu in Tokyo, Isobar, and 360i. So all this report draws from experiences from the brands we work for and all the specialists that we have. The beauty about the report is it tells you as a marketer where we're heading to, and how we can secure growth for 2021 and beyond. So we did show a lot of trends. We have virtual commerce. We have the the reality of today beating the fakeness of the world, and so on and so forth. So we really did get a lot of nice feedback from clients, and because it is the truth, it is especially with what happened to the world. We were pushed with the power of 5G. We were streaming more than ever. We were downloading apps more than ever. So our world and our lives have totally took a different turn. So that was the inspiration of this report.
In personal health is also one of these trends. And Dentsu's Tunascope is an example of how technology is being applied to diagnose food safety, like the freshness of fish remotely. Can you tell us about this campaign?
Yes, Tunascope is a beautiful use of AI and put in an app. The background of this is the campaign has a lot to do with Japan's culture. You know very well how Japan consumes tuna, right? When we go to our Japanese restaurants, tuna is a main dish. Now, it was really about preserving a specific skill. There is an artisan in Japan that takes 10 years to master. It is really to read if the tuna fish is really of great quality. Now, these artisans are decreasing in number. There was a lack of the skill and people getting into that skill. So now Dentsu got into the picture and offered to come up with this kind of technology where, with all the deep learning of all the artisans of the world in their years of learning, how do we take all of that data into AI learning and put it in an app? And then Tunascope was born. So through hundreds of tuna tail patterns, if you see the video, I can give you the video, but all the hundreds of tuna fish photos through their tails, AI has mastered the nuances that artisans' eyes would see if, oh, this is good quality and this is not, or this is not of that standard that we are looking for. Now, it can't be that way that we choose tuna, or else we overfish. So it is also in a way that to save fishes of the world. So it's not about quantity, it's now about quality. So this is to help the industry as well to pick the right fish in essence, and it helped the industry shift from to to protecting the ocean's resources as well.
Okay, so it has the two purposes basically.
Yes.
And it is clear that as people spend more and more time online, they want online spaces where they can find real humanity and belonging, said Jason Citron, the Discord founder and CEO. And related to human contactless trend, where less interaction has challenged online commerce to be more personal and human. Isn't this contradictory? Like on one side, real humanity and contactless online experiences? What do you
Well,
think?
Lucia, pre-COVID, one might believe that this is contradictory. So pre-COVID, you would believe, oh, that those two worlds don't belong to each other. But our global situation has forced us to think differently. Somehow, creatively, we have to combine these two worlds of contactless, not to spread contagion, right? And emotional connection when we needed it most. So not only does this differentiate brands from each other, but also its services. For example, it creates you have to create this human touch through technology without losing the charm of your brand, not losing delighting your consumers. It can't be all technology because you're afraid of contagion, but you have to still make your consumers smile. You have to reach out and make them feel good about your brand. So here comes your personalization. It comes in through technology. You make consumers feel that they belong to a community, for example. You make them interact with you. In short, you want to make your brand's presence felt all the more, regardless of all this limited contactless technology. So the example I really gave here in my talk was the Lululemon's, the brand Lululemon for active athleisure, right? They got into a partnership with Mirror, which is an AI activated mirror, literally, where it guides you to your exercise, to your moves. Imagine all these women locked in their homes, but they do the exercise and you feel like you have a companion in the gym, but there's really nothing. So while it is contactless, it feels personal. So I guess it now, because of what's happening to us, you have to marry both.
Yeah. Do you think that contactless is now forever? It's going to stay, right?
I hope not, because we still want the world to open up to hugs.
Yeah.
One day.
We do miss hugs, that's for sure. And
Yeah.
social inequalities highlighted by Black Lives Matters and other movements to address them have gained momentum, creating urgency for brands to be a force for social good. You talk about the urgency of allyship in one of the other trends. Are you optimistic about this trend, not only from the brand side, but from most social agents that can make real change in this direction?
Yeah, let's face it, it wasn't the first time brands have spoken up or became very vocal about issues. Um, Even in the past year, we had already brands getting into activism. However, last year, when brands started becoming vocal about Black Lives Matter, we saw a little difference. Consumers suddenly started questioning your authenticity as a brand. I remember I was reading a lot of this in the news when let's say Nike comes up with a good spot, then suddenly people were looking at their board members of the company and seeing that they're not diverse enough, suddenly speaking up, you better walk the talk. So consumers suddenly became very intelligent in a way that we're tired of brands just talking. We demand that you walk the talk. You really become role models to us, to the world. So that's a difference I saw with this trend. And secondly, brands have to be consistent in the way they drive structural and systemic change. For example, for me, the best example is Ben and Jerry's. I've watched this brand turn their consumers to activists through the years, from LGBTQ issues to Black Lives Matter, and they even changed the name of their ice cream flavors to push their issues and their causes forward. So for me, consistency also is a big thing that consumers are looking at. So because at the end of the day, consumers are looking for brands to trust. And in this day and age, when there's so many fake news and fakeness all over proliferating our space, they need to be able to believe you so they can trust you.
And why do you think this happened? Why this change in consumers' attention or concerns, if you want to call it like that?
It boils down to trust again, because sometimes we're polished, we're glossy, nice films, we have very good words, but right now maybe that's not enough for consumers anymore. They want to really know if the brands that they like or the brands that they are supporting are really authentic and uh, what's this, are really believe in that causes that they speak about. In that walking the talk issues of Black Lives Matter, I really saw not just Nike, but there were a lot of other brands that people started questioning. Where is diversity in your board members? Where is the diversity in your stores? So people started asking those questions. So I guess it's between usage of the brands or boycotting them.
Hmm.
So their belief and trust is shown in the way they buy a brand. It's very important to them now who to support.
Okay. And besides your global job today, you are also the diversity and inclusion chief for APAC, and you mentioned you're especially concerned about WFH, which is not work from home, but women from home, as women have doubled/tripled their working hours, as this now include housework and childcare with their actual workload. What do you think that should be done to change this?
This is a passion project for me today. Uh, I went around APAC, and I know that there is huge data that says one third of women um, said that their workloads have doubled or tripled, dramatically increased during the pandemic. And let's say 65% now have more household chores in between meetings.
Hmm.
And I could imagine the childcare and the tutoring now that kids are all at home. So you can imagine them squeezing in meetings, Zoom calls with, you've seen this during your Zoom calls, you have a kid running around and somehow trying to get the attention of the meeting, right? So this is now normal. We see this as normal, but I went through and I talked to a lot of women, and I want that brought out. There's a lot about sharing chores with your partners. There's a lot about helping other women cope with the load of work. So in our in Dentsu, what we did was, we, as creative as can be, what can we do? Can we at least keep hours before meal time sacred, free of meetings? Can we have a wellness Wednesday where in the middle of the week, chill? Let our women chill, don't do anything, just rest. Because really, it's taking its toll to our health, to our mental health, physically and our mental health. So I feel we started brainstorming with some creatives on these little solutions, but it actually helps.
Hmm.
So those were just examples. Or some are, our creatives are getting into kid Zooms. We call it they care, not daycare, but they care, where it's an hour or so where creatives can present stories and play acts and crafts to kids while their moms can have a little bit of me time.
Ah,
So
cool.
little solutions like that. It may not be really big help, but it does take a little bit of the load. So I'm in that space right now for the International Women's Month.
And that is from the agency or from the company side. Do you think there's something that should be done, like a bigger stage, like government, with this concern?
I think there's a lot. There's a lot about. We always say that we want to empower women. We want to give more of our young women, for example, skills and training and what have you. But given our situation wherein we're at home, I've seen a lot of single women taking care of their parents, for example. Um, it is very hard. But hopefully later on, we get into a situation where we get back into normalcy and show them that this situation is not stopping your progress to career growth. We're here to help you push your career growth no matter what. So I guess what's important right now in this situation is hand-holding these people, and that we're here with you. That's why even if the solutions can be of different kinds, for as long as your presence is there, we're here with you. Whatever your problems, we're listening to your problems. We're always going to have a conversation about this. I think that helps a lot.
And you wrote a handbook, Everyone Can Be Creative. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, the history of this is a bit long. It's a bit like when I was younger, I was a very curious kid. I was questioning everything. So one day at 13 years old, I ran away from home and I went into a convent. So in a convent, since it's contemplative, you can't go out once you get in. I was 13. I was too young to be given vows, spiritual vows. So I was just like their young kid running around in their convent. And what I learned from there was I became more creative, actually, because it's like you have to be resourceful to think of things. It is a life of poverty. I was suddenly out in the mountains planting sugar canes, harvesting sugar canes. So I've never done that in my life, but it's a convent where it's ora et labora, so it's work and pray. You work physically and you pray every hour. So I felt after 3 years of that, without vows, I said, I want to go out. I think I've learned patience. I learned clearing my thoughts because of silence. I've learned so many things. However, when I got out of college and I went into advertising, I was pretty much secretive about this because I feel it's so uncool to talk about it. People might think she's weird, or goody two shoes. And you know how advertising is. Yeah, people have assumptions that we're wild people, right? I used to kid that advertising has the word sin in it. So we're wild, So I pretty much kept that as a secret until when I founded my agency and when real challenges came my way, real problems came my way. We lose a pitch, we lose people. Oh my God, revenues fall in or you build revenue. So it's like real problems are now happening to me. Before I have bosses to take care of that, right? Now I started pulling out my superpowers, which I learned in the convent years and years ago. I started like using my silence of the mind. I started like bringing out the patience like nothing like before. I started talking about it in different ways. And I figured these little things that I kept in secret are helping me out. Maybe I should talk about it. So I wrote about it. So every single chapter, let's say, learning about poverty, you have nothing, no materials, no money. What do you do? Does your creativity stop? No. So that's the power of resourcefulness. We come up with ideas without real big budget, and yet we come with a brilliant, amazing idea. So I thought, oh my God, all of those little values I picked up in the convent are helping me now. Maybe I should share it with the world. So that's what the book is all about. And if you have all of those values, you can actually be more creative than ever. That's why everyone can be that creative.
And it must have been useful during the pandemic also, because like staying at home and staying in a convent and not be able to go out.
Definitely, like you can now imagine, because it's more about like discipline. For example, during that time, we weren't eating really, flashy foods. It's the most simplest vegetable and rice, which I wouldn't even dare eat when I was a teenager. But because I'm hungry, I would eat it, So now you can just, settle with whatever food we have. I mean, you don't complain. You know how to take in and really relish what you have and count your blessings. Little things like that help me out. And I draw strength from those years when I was younger. That experience is really something to treasure.
Great. Have your daughters read it?
Yes, and it's funny because I would dread it if my daughter, a 13-year-old daughter, would tell me, I want to go inside a convent. I want to go and run to a convent. I would probably die. And now I understand why my parents were trying to pull me out of the convent during that time, because I got out of school. they didn't, but they turned out to be really, really brave and very. Actually, they're more brave than I am. Women, very strong women. Two of them are also in the industry.
Oh,
Both, all of us are competitive. We're competing each other. We're different networks, and they're all creatives as well. I have two younger ones and very outspoken, very much unlike me when I was 13. So maybe they found their answers pretty early.
that's good.
Yeah.
And you are also the president this year for the Radio and Audio Lions. What campaigns do you expect to find after such a special and different year?
Um, the last year has been a challenging year for all of us. As I've, it has been a year of silence because everything stopped, literally. It's also a year for me of reflections. Suddenly we got to reflect, what have we been doing at work? What have we been doing in life? We suddenly like asking questions like that. We've become deep people, right? And also, it's been a year of wellness. Health has been big because all of a sudden we wanted to eat right, we wanted to exercise right because we don't want to get sick.
Hmm.
So, so because of all of this, we started listening. We started reflecting, as I've said, and people suddenly became very serious, and it made us value what we used to take for granted. And maybe wellness is big about mental health. A lot of my young creatives are getting anxiety attacks. You're getting depression. All of a sudden, because they're alone, they can be feeling isolated maybe. So because of all of that, I'm sure there's a lot of things, let's say, built around sound that might be interesting in helping people. And for example, meditation and relaxation apps came up, and I remember apps like Headspace came up with playlists that would calm you down and chill you out. Amazing voice platforms, for example, again, using technology, can diagnose anything from heart disease to blood pressure.
Hmm.
So these are all possible, nice innovations that use sound. And I'm very excited to see that. And I just want to know how sound has helped 2020.
And to finish, what kind of stories or ideas would you like brands to tell this year, this 2021?
I guess brands cannot be tone deaf. We cannot continue what was pre-COVID, just sell and sell and sell. I think brands are part of our lives. It is with us at home. It's funny because before I wouldn't care less what I use as a detergent or toilet cleaner or whatever. Now I do, right? I compare. There's nothing else to see. So I go to the only place we can go to are groceries and supermarkets. I really now look at everything, right? So it's funny. So we want, as consumers as well, we don't want fakeness. All the more we're looking for no ulterior motives. We want genuine transparency and authenticity, a tone of voice like that talking to us. I'm amazed at Libres, for example. Before, they just show it as it is. So blood normal, show it as red, right? And then they celebrated Viva La Volva by showing what it is, how it looks like. And then now I think I just saw this yesterday, that they show you the real pain of endometriosis.
Yeah.
So for me, they have developed that tone of voice of being real, not fakeness, not covering it up, just so to sell your features as a brand. So for me, I think that's a big thing. People are looking at that. More clients are asking. This is funny. More clients are asking for execution that would stand out of all the thousands of content that people are consuming. So many are creating. Can we stand out all the more? For me, I think brands should be asking the question of, what do we stand for?
Hmm.
More than make me stand out. What do we really stand for? What is the purpose? What is our purpose as a brand in the lives of consumers today and long term? And for me, good always wins. That is if it's true and genuine, right? So, for example, H&M now is into re-commerce. I said this in my talk about um, giving clothes a second life to avoid wastage. let's say Coca-Cola is coming up with paper bottles, given the problem of PET plastic bottles. We have this task of by 2030, zero plastics, hopefully, in our oceans. Our offices have come up with Crayola, for example. When I was a kid, I would draw with Crayola. I only have flesh tone, and that's it, or brown. So now Crayola comes up with 24 skin tones. I guess this is when we suddenly become more conscious. Okay, I remember also in our China office where they came up with very sensitive. They came up with Doomy, a robot in KFC, where he understands all the different kinds of dialects in China.
Wow.
So people feel comfortable, even if their accents are wrong when they order. So there is an insight where they feel embarrassed ordering. Now you have a very high-tech way of ordering, yet very human, because it understands and talks your accent. So this is what I'm looking forward to from brands moving forward.
Okay, then. So thank you very much for your time and for joining us. And let's hope for a great 2021 with lots of work and good things.
Thank you, Lucia. Thank you.
Thank you.